I'm Kelly Mitchell, and this is Breve TV Uncorked, women on wine, business, and evolution, sharing rich conversation to enlighten, challenge, and inspire the busiest people on earth. Joining me is my partner in wine, Debra Trapin. Welcome to the show, Debra. It's delicious to have you here.
Well, it's always divine to share wine time with you, Cal.
Ooh. And today we're talking about love and upping your happiness quotient. It's what we all want. We chase it. We lust it. We lust it. We lust for it. We covet it. It's elusive, rewarding. It opens possibilities. And in today's world, we no longer have to sit back and wait, hope, and wonder if it will ever touch us. We can do something different, like today's guest. And this is episode 78, Taking the Love Jump, How to Increase Your Life and Happiness Quotient. So today's guest is Krystal Tingle. She's put herself out there in a really big way. Out there for love, for her knight in shining armor, using video, the blog, her Instagram, among other things, to share her message, and she's ready to embrace the next phase of her life and open to the experience. Please welcome Krystal to the show.
Woo! Yes, I am. Hello, lovelies.
It's wonderful to have you here, Miss Krystal. And you are speaking on me. Oh, you've unmuted. There we go. Welcome back.
Here.
So welcome to the show. The word for the show today, of course, is love. And what do we do, ladies, when the word of the show is said?
We sip.
We sip, absolutely. So on that note, I'd love to toast to the show and to each of you, and to love.
To love.
So let's see where to begin. Okay, we're going to begin with a quote. Brie said there's only one real adventure in this world, love. It's finding the one person who makes you want to be better than who you are. That's Anna Catmore from Neverland. And with that, I would love to jump into what's in our glasses today. Debra, let's start with you.
Oh, yeah, I love starting. So I have a delicious Washington wine, of course, and this is from Smasne Cellars. Smasne. You can see that actually there's a little, see a little tractor on there? Isn't that cute?
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that cute? They're so cute. This is their Aligote, and Aligote is a very rare white grape that's pretty much only grown in the Burgundy area of France, except for here in Washington. And what really made it famous was a delicious French cocktail called the Cure. The Cure Royale has bubbles in it, but the Cure cocktail, which is mixed with white wine and cassis, is what made the grape famous. So it's a 2011, and it is awesome. It is apples, it is brie, it is lemon, it is delicious. No food required.
Ah, I love it. I love it. Thank you for sharing that, and it sounds delicious. Krystal, how about you? What's in your glass today?
Well, I am not a wine snob, but I am a wine lover. I'm a vino lover, and this is called a Primativo, and I learned a lot. So my friend Justin, he's over at Vino Lovers, and they were lovely enough to gift this to me. I'm saying a lot of love, ladies. I don't see any sipping.
Oh. We've got somebody to keep us on our toes.
Oh, yeah. Hey. Better catch up. So this is a Primativo, and Justin from Vino Lovers told me that it is a Zinfandel clone, and he was romancing me when he was describing it. He was saying, it's smooth and silky, and I'm all like, sheets? And he and I guess it's from the boot, the left side of the boot of Italy, from Italy. So dark grapes, and it's delicious. It's very smooth and silky and smoky. So that's what I'm drinking. Cheers.
Yummy. Cheers. Love that.
Yeah, you guys should check out Vino Lovers. They do customizable wine. So it's customizable kind of a wine club.
Ooh, we may have to talk about that. This is going to be an unusual introduction for me because I don't often have a wine I don't really care for.
Uh-oh.
And this is Shiloh Road. I opened it last night after a couple of glasses of wine. So, of course, you know, your palate is not in tune. It tasted fine last night. I sealed it and did that properly. It is a Cabernet Sauvignon, or they're calling it a Cabernet Sauvignon. It slapped my tongue upside the underside. It was not fun.
Oh.
And it's going to be all I can do to get through this show and sip. So Shiloh Road. I guess the one thing that I learned about wines is, and this is Sonoma County, one of the things I learned, when you go to the internet and you cannot find any information out about a winery, there's a good chance that these companies are buying grapes from other people, and a lot of times maybe blending them, or they don't want this coming back to them necessarily. They're not, I mean, you see the true winemakers, I think, of the world that are so passionate about the product that they're putting out there. They are everywhere. Their advice is everywhere. Their information is everywhere. This is, there's not a lot of tannins. It's pretty jammy, but it is like, maybe the second glass will be better. And on that note, I'd love to talk to Mr. Vino Lovers, but on with the show, of course. Okay, so Krystal, 10,000-foot view, the love jump. This is huge. This is being a woman who knows what she wants and putting the energy out there to attract it back, and that blows my mind. How did you get started, and what exactly, for our audience, is the love jump?
Wow. So I kind of took my whole life and I flipped it upside down. I made love a priority. I think well, I'm 32 years old. I will be 33 this June. And about a year ago, maybe a little bit, about a year and a half ago, I just, you know, got to this point where I said, everything in my life is great, but the one thing I want, I don't have. And if, you know, anything, if I wanted a job, I would go look for one. If I wanted, you know, to live in a new city, I would move. And so if I want love, why not go after it? And so I said, you know what, I'm going to make this a priority. So it really just started as a personal kind of a journey where I, you know, redecorated my bedroom and started playing love songs and kind of romancing myself in my environment. I started dressing really girly and feminine and flirty and just kind of letting love in. And then because of my journalism background and my writing and just I'm very creative, I said, you know what, I should put this out there. I should share my story. And so I started a blog last Valentine's Day. And so it's almost a year of the love jump. And that's where I tell my stories. I go on dates. I've joined online dating sites. I ask my friends, I tell my girlfriends and guy friends, hey, you know anybody? Hook us up, come on, you know? And I just put myself out there, and there's no shame in my game. It's not about being desperate. It's just about knowing what you want and going for it. So here I am.
I absolutely love that. Debra, question.
I love it too. So I'm always curious about how a community comes together around this type of topic. And you and I have had some really fun conversations. One in particular, the story about how your like freaking amazing video on the lovejump.com was put together and how it came together. So can you tell our listeners how that worked out for you and how that came to be?
Yes, I'm so glad you asked that question because it was a huge kind of for me, a very divine moment. I didn't anticipate it. I didn't plan it. Like I said, it wasn't a blog initially. It was just kind of this movement. And I did a live storytelling event, and I decided
You decided Oh, we can't hear you. You muted yourself, honey.
I don't know if there's timeout on this.
There's not a timeout. Are you okay?
No, I have to give someone something I didn't realize, so I apologize. I'm completely... Commercial break.
That is hilarious. So while you're doing that, okay, I'm actually going to read Krystal's short bio for our listeners because it's so much fun.
Perfect.
So, Krystal Tingle. Yes, It's her real name, which of course I love that. She's a storyteller, a Florida Gator, a news junkie, a Jesus lover who lusts after LeBron. He is delicious. She eats Asian food weekly, and she's a lover. She's utterly transparent, bold, often comical, yes, often comical, and always inspiring. Krystal Tingle provokes courage and curiosity with candid sermons and stories about love, love.
I'm back. I'm drinking. I'm back.
Yes. Sex, spirituality, and culture. I absolutely love your short bio. I love it, love it, love it, love it.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Sorry about that brief commercial break. You never know what's going to happen.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Okay, so
well, is this better if I do this?
Yes, thank you.
I want to make sure everyone can hear me. Sorry about that.
Perfect.
Okay, so
back with the show.
Back with the show.
So what precipitated all of this? Why did you start this? Why did you feel that you needed to be intentional and very public about this venture?
I just figured if I, I said, if you're going to do it, you might as well do it, right? And tell everybody about it and put all your business out there. My mom freaked out. She's like, what are you doing? Are you blogging? Are you telling everybody about these dates? And I'm like, well, you just got to go big or go home, because a lot of people are dating. But I think, too, I really wanted to kind of not be by myself in this journey. And I have friends that support me, but there's something about, gathering a community, and I think that's what you're asking too, Debra, is, there are a lot of women out there and men who really, want this and see it as a priority, but they don't necessarily know how to go for it, or you go on a couple dates and you get kind of discouraged. And so I just felt the need to really kind of share my story because I want to inspire other people, whether it's romantic love, whether it's, rebuilding your family, whether it's getting your dream job. You have to jump for what you love. You have to go for what's important to you. You have to really, not be afraid to take risks and take them every day.
Excellent. Debra, question.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. So tell the video story.
Yes, I was going to say the video. Okay, so I was doing, I'm going to try to keep it short. Okay, because I love to talk.
Oh, girl.
I love games too. Oh, there you go, 2 sips. So I was doing a public speaking event. I was doing a live storytelling event because I love live storytelling. I love public speaking. And I went for a client of mine that I was doing PR for. And I met the organizer of the event who happened to be doing a love-themed storytelling event like 2 months later. So I said, oh my God, I have to do this. I have to do this event. So I met with her. I told her, hey, I'm Krystal. Hi, I've never been in love. I know. I'm not crazy. Don't worry. And she says, so I brought her all of my journals because I've been journaling since I was in middle school. I have all my journals since like the 6th grade and my diaries and stacks of them. And it's so funny to go back and read them. I meet with her and she says, I've always had this vision to, create someone's silhouette as a photographer and put journal and diary pages in the middle of them. I was like, really? So she's like, would you mind if I photographed you and shot your video? And I'm all, have you met me? I'm like the biggest ham in the world. Of course I want to do that. So it literally happened in the span of like 3 days. I went to Macy's and like totally bought. Rachel Roy just happened to be having like this love-themed line out at the time, and I just got every piece of love-themed item I could get, ran to the studio, and she created this incredible video, and it was played. This was kind of like my coming out party, so to speak. It was played at the Folk and the Lore at the live storytelling event. And right after I played it, I did a 15-minute talk about my love jump.
Love that. That is wonderful. Yeah. Wonderful stuff. So one of the things, like I kind of, when I was going through your journey, I kind of looked at my journey and did a little internalizing. And while I wouldn't change where I'm at today, I think that technology, our connectivity, the internet has just made the possibilities for romance and for finding true love just so much better and so much easier. So my question to you is, now you're blogging about your dates and your experiences. I know of many people, myself included, who wasted a number of years in some situations with people who weren't the right fit. What is your rule for clearing out the deadwood, seriously, and moving on? And, you know, because sometimes you get in those situations where it's kind of comfy and it's kind of nice, but, you know, it's not right, and it's Mr. Right Now instead of Mr., you know, real and forever.
Wow, clearing out the wood. So I think one of the things I'm doing right now, I'm glad you brought this up because that's number one on my list of, you know, 3 things you want to do is knowing your language, you know, knowing what your love language is. And so I kind of use that as a baseline to decide, you know, whether, you know, this person really fits with me or not. I'm also reading a book right now called Calling in the One by, I believe her name is Kathleen Woodard. I may be massacring her name, but it's an awesome book, and what it does, it really helps you kind of dig into, you know, your heart and your personal development and see, you know, what your needs are. And I think that's the first step to knowing, you know, who the wins are and who the not so winning, you know, guys are. So that's what I do. That's not to say that I don't, you know, have a little fun every now and then with just, you know, maybe someone who I'm not going to be with forever, but I believe there's always something that you can learn from every relationship, right? Good or bad, whether it's 2 minutes or 20 years. There's always, you know, a moment to have an exchange with someone. And so that's kind of how I'm looking at dating right now and taking the love jump, is none of it is in vain. None of it is a waste of time, because at the end of the day, I love people. One of them will be the man of my dreams. And then maybe 20 of them will be at my wedding.
Excellent. Debra.
I love that. Okay, so we love to inspire the women who watch the show. And one of the things that I love about you is that you are just bold about this love jump you are on. And so I'd love for you to share kind of the craziest jump you made in your love jump so far. Like, what was the, like, I cannot believe I did this. I walked up, I did whatever it is. So share, like, give us some inspiration to, like, go.
So, and this is something I think every woman should do in their lifetime. I went on vacation by myself. So if you haven't done it, I highly recommend it. It was a crazy transformational time. Last summer, I quit my job, I took a month off, and I said, you know what? I'm going to take a breather. So I booked a ticket to Belize, and Debra, you're actually the inspiration to this. Debra was telling me about how she went to Belize at one point, and I said, you know what? I gotta go to Belize. So I went to Belize, and I realized I got on the plane, and I hadn't given anyone the hotel that I was staying at. So I'm like literally taking off out of Miami, and I'm like, oh, I better text my sister and let her know where I'm staying. So I went to Belize by myself for 10 days, and on the second night I was there, I met Captain. And that is probably the biggest jump I've taken. And he was a very kind, very sweet gentleman who I spent my entire vacation with. And it was crazy. I mean, my mom the whole time was like, don't go on a boat with any captain by yourself. You know, you'll end up overboard somewhere. And I did. I let him in, and I was so vulnerable. I was so open. And some people may have said, gosh, you know, you're being really stupid, or you're not being wise. You know, he was, you know, we went out to dinner. I met friends and family. We went on boat rides. He took me snorkeling. It was pretty much a dream. I couldn't have made it up myself. We walked on the beach. It was just this crazy whirlwind, you know, 10-day trip. But it was such an epic love jump because I really let myself go in a good way, you know, and I really just, I chose to trust. And I think sometimes in life and work, it's so easy for us to, you know, have our guards so far up that we just don't ever let anyone in, whether we're afraid of being hurt or, you know, and everything wasn't perfect with him, but at the end of the day, like, I would not take that trip back for anything. So, and Captain, I wrote about him. There's a Captain Chronicles on the Love Jump on the blog, so you should go check it out because it's a really fun kind of a story, and it will be in my book.
I love it. Yay.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, so the list. The list is something that I finally decided that in an effort to help my single friends, newly single or were continually single, I was going to ask them to to compose a list.
Chronically single.
Chronically, I did not say that, but it was on the tip of my tongue. But having been one, so I I think I got to the point where I finally did a list because I was so falling from one set of arms to another because it was easy. And what I found was a lot of unhappiness or unmet dreams. And I think that if people create a list, you're the best, right? You create a list of the things that you absolutely cannot live without. So when you're running into somebody or you meet a captain or whatever, you go, okay, he's got 7 out of the 10 I must haves, and on the list of the things that would be nice, he's got 3. That's not bad. But by being with Mr. Right now, you might miss out on Mr. Right, and hence the philosophy or the philosophy behind the list. So what is your, how do you determine if somebody is worthy? Because you're an amazing young woman. You have a lot to offer. If somebody is worthy from a longer standpoint, do you have a way that you evaluate, or is it more by gut? How do you do it?
I would say, yeah, the second. I'd probably go a lot more just by my spirit and my intuition and my discernment. I have this saying I say, you always know. It's that simple. You always know. I was in Belize with Captain, and I knew. I was envisioning, my wedding on a lighthouse off of the coast of Belize, and my life lived in Cuba, island hopping with my 6 Belizean Jamaican children. But but I knew, and so I do have a list, but I kind of took it, and went like this, you just gotta, because at the end of the day, it's really, I think, going to come down to not so much what you feel, but what you know in your spirit and in your heart. But there definitely are things, and I would even say for me, I'm no expert. Obviously, if I were an expert, I wouldn't be here. But what I'm learning is that the first list we need to make is what we have to offer, and not in a boastful way, not in a way that it's like I'm all that in a bag of chips, but what am I really bringing to the table? What makes me lovable? I've been asking myself that question a lot. What are the list of things that make me a lovable person? And what about myself do I need to, how can I grow, my capacity to be lovable and to be loved? Because I think that's kind of where you start. And then, yeah, tall, dark, handsome, money in the bank.
Those are so cute. You are so cute. I love it. The youth at my church did this whole small group called "Would You Date You?" and it was life-changing for them. I mean, these are young kids, between 14 and 20, and they were learning about how to date and how to be the ideal person to date. And so I love that philosophy of what is my list? And yeah, you might be the cat's meow when you write that list, but it's important for you to remind yourself of how fabulous you are too.
That's true.
So, yeah. I would love to know, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh, that's such a fun question. I didn't expect that. Honestly, I know everybody, every black woman says this probably. I don't know. I wanted to be Oprah. I promise you. But it's not like, we all kind of are in, marketing and PR and media, and we all just want to be Oprah. No, I was 10 years old. I can remember coming home from school, and I would watch, especially, and then during the summer, I was kind of a soap opera junkie. It's bizarre. Now I'm like, how did my parents let me watch that? But I would watch All My Children at 1, One Life to Live at 2, General Hospital at 3, and then Oprah at 4. And then I'd watch Mickey Mouse Club and Kids Incorporated. I promise you, this was my routine.
Oh my gosh!
And I was probably 10, 11 years old, and I just said, that is what I want to do, because I was that girl who, you know, my second grade teacher, Miss Permenter, said, you know, Krystal's great. She just talks too much. You know, she would be so wonderful if she could just stop talking. And it's like, no, those things that, you know, people tell you, those are exactly the things that you're supposed to use, you know, for greatness. And I wanted to be Oprah. I always did, and it was a one track. I went to school for broadcast journalism. You know, I worked at the newspaper in the yearbook in high school. You know, that was always my dream.
I love it. I love it. And just by the way, not every woman wants to be Oprah.
Okay, good to know.
Important to remember that, right?
It is important to remember that, and I think that's good because, you know, there's only one of her and there's only one of us, and so, you know, I don't want to be Oprah. I want to be Krystal Tingle.
Yes, Oprah-esque.
Oprah-esque, yes. I love her. She's phenomenal. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So, final question. We have to wrap. It went by so fast.
I'm just getting started. No.
No, we'll have to have you back, honey.
Please.
I would love to hear your advice for anybody who's on a similar journey as you. You know, maybe a marriage didn't work out, they've lost a spouse, or they're beginning their love jump. What kinds of advice do you have for them?
I would say, honestly, just do it. Just jump. You know, we all have baggage. We all have fears. We all have, you know, inhibitions, insecurities, all these things that would want to hold us back. But the number one thing we can do is just put ourselves out there and not be afraid to be vulnerable. This is a very, very vulnerable process. I am scared every day, you know, but that's a good thing because that means I'm doing something every day that scares me. So I'm kind of living on the edge, you know, and I think that that's so important. And it, like I said, it could be whether you were in a relationship that didn't work out or you were married. I heard a story today about a woman who was married for 30 years and her husband, you know, left. And this is common. It happens to a lot of people. And but it's never too late for love. And so I would just say just to jump. And if it's your job, you know, if it's your career and you feel like you want to be an entrepreneur, then jump. Whatever it is, just do it. Just don't wait. Just do it every day. Don't give up. I got more of those. Take the love jump.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much for joining us, Krystal. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. This has been so much fun. Sorry about the brief commercial break.
No worries, no worries. And definitely want to have you back in the future, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for listening to Breve TV Uncorked. To our fans, go bold, Women on Wine. Subscribe to brevetv.com so you won't miss the rich goodness of information for your entrepreneurial lifestyle. And remember, each and every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, we're in the stream with our guests on Wednesdays, like I said, tweeting using the hashtag #BreveTV. So if you want to interact and get to know our guests better, please make sure and be in the stream 6 p.m. Pacific time, Wednesdays. Debra, thank you so much.
My absolute pleasure.
And cheers to both of you. Loved the show. Love Jump.
Love
Cheers
you.
to love.
Cheers to love.
Cheers to love. Just take the jump.